To fully understand Mexico, we must look at its geography, where it's located on the North American continent, as well as its rich historical past. There are three major periods in the country's history that have made Mexico what it is today. Many centuries of advanced civilizations that existed before Columbus discovered America. 3 centuries under Spanish colonial rule, and over a century and a half of political independence to the present day.
People first came to this land about 20,000 years ago. Ancient rock paintings tell us they hunted wild animals and gathered fruits and seeds. Then, about 9,000 years ago, they learned how to raise crops. For the next 6,000 years, most of these people farmed the rich volcanic soil of what would someday be known as central and southeastern Mexico. Later, another great civilization, that of the Mayans, emerged. Archaeological sites tell us that at its height, between 1,700 and 1,100 years ago, Mayan cities were located throughout what is known today as the Yucatan Peninsula. The Mayans produced remarkable architecture and art. They also made important advances in astronomy and mathematics. This is a replica of a Mayan calendar. They also were the first Native Americans to develop an advanced system of writing. The Mayans worshipped a sun god, Kinich, a moon goddess, Ixchel, and a maize god, Amun, along with some 160 other deities. One group of those invaders was the Aztecs. They were fierce warriors who raided farming communities and enslaved those whom they captured. But the Aztecs also laid claim to or built 2 of the world's largest cities at that time. One, called Teotihuacan, once had some 200,000 people. Teotihuacan was a major religious and commercial center for hundreds of years, and its buildings were engineering marvels. But to the south, it was the Aztecs' capital city, Tenochtitlan, that was one of the true engineering and architectural stars of the ancient world. As this 16th century map shows, Tenochtitlan was built on an island in Lake Texcoco and had giant causeways that linked it to the mainland. Tenochtitlan had wide streets laid out in a grid pattern, as well as canals. The people highlighted are walking along one of those waterways. Like Teotihuacan seen here, Tenochtitlan had huge pyramids topped with temples where sacrifices, animals, vegetables, minerals, and humans were offered to the Aztec gods. The Aztecs were a very religious people. Like the Mayans, they had many gods, including an adaptation of the Toltec ruler Quetzalcoatl, who was now seen as the god of civilization and learning. The Aztec Empire lasted some 200 years. Of course, government spending often affects the Mexican people, the vast majority of whom are mestizos, or those of mixed heritage. Specifically, some of their ancestors came from Spain, some from Africa as slaves, and some were Native Americans. Being a mestizo is generally seen as a matter of pride. Mestizos see themselves as being descended from proud and accomplished peoples. Because so many Mexicans have blended their Indian and Spanish heritages, Mexico has created one of the most colorful and interesting cultures in the Americas. That culture is reflected in many ways, including its various types of distinctive music. Mexican dances are also distinctive. The country's beautiful cathedrals reflect its unique culture too. And so does its public art. Mexico's people speak a form of Spanish that contains thousands of words taken from native languages. But about 5 million speak only their native language, of which there are more than 3 dozen. Mexico, then, is a country with a long, rich, and turbulent history, one that dates back thousands of years when Native Americans roamed these lands, then later built some of the greatest cities of the ancient world. The story of Mexico also includes invasion and colonial domination by the Spanish. It is a story of revolution and conflict, but in more recent years, peace, growth, and renewal, and a government intent on meeting the country's challenges. Mexicans are, for the most part, descendants of both Spanish and native peoples, and they have a colorful and vibrant culture. Mexico, its history, government, and people, the story of our neighbors to the south. After the festivals, the fireworks, the music, and dancing, we still have our concerns about our future and the future of our children. I hope that you can see how my beautiful country, my Mexico, is a place of contrasts in its land and its people. It is both ancient and modern. Where narrow streets share space with wide boulevards. Ancient buildings and modern skyscrapers. A place where our people celebrate ancient traditions while living with satellite dishes that bring in television programs from the United States and the world. We share craft skills passed down from generations of artisans, yet we are learning the skills of machines and mass production. You can see that we have many of the same customs that you have, and many that are different, such as a birthday piñata, a figure filled with candy or toys that a blindfolded child attempts to knock down for the presents inside. As neighbors, we look forward to a bright future as a friend and trading partner with the United States and Canada, because we all share the most important things: our faith, our families, our children, and our love of country.